How do property auctions work? Well, welcome back. In this episode, I'm going to answer your question. How do property tax auctions work? Well, you're going to like this lesson because these auctions are 5,000 of them every year. And if you learn how to work at these auctions, you're going to be able to make yourself lots of money. Now, my name is Ted Thomas. I've been at this since 1970. I've been involved in real estate, but the last 30 years, I've really narrowed it down to tax lien certificates and tax deed properties. Why did I do that? Because I got out of the recession business and got into a business that's very stable. And I'm going to show you a very stable business where you can make money every single year and you don't have to worry about the markets going up and down. Now, if you're worried about the economy and you're worried about a recession, I completely understand that because the markets go roaring up in real estate and everybody's excited. And then when they come crashing down, we see some places where sometimes the property values drop 70%. And when that happens, everybody loses their assets, that's for sure. Okay, so in this episode, I'm going to share with you some exact strategies to make some really big bucks in real estate. So you're really going to like what I'm going to talk about. Now, I don't have time to tell you every detail right now, but I do want to make sure that you understand that at the end of this video, I'm going to point out two mistakes that auction buyers continuously make. You don't want to make these mistakes. So stay tuned to the very end and I'll go through those two mistakes. I'll be right back. How do property tax auctions work? Well, they're a hugely profitable way to make money for the little guy and for the big guy. And I'll even give you an example before we finish this lesson, and you'll see the exact strategies that I use, and I use them again and again and again. I've had people that bought 60 properties in 6 years. Now that's almost one every month or so, and they're able to do that because they're just following the simple strategies that I teach. Now these were little guys that were actually using a credit card to buy. So lots of information to give you. All right, first of all, there's 5,000 scheduled auctions every year. Properties are auctioned in all 3,000 counties. Now, the large counties, I mean large population counties, like a Los Angeles or a Miami-Dade, those are big counties with millions and millions of people. They will have thousands of tax defaulted auctions. And those auctions, they'll have thousands of properties, not auctions, but thousands of properties at the one auction. Now, it's amazing to see 1,000 properties get sold in a day or two. But I've sat through those auctions, I've bid at those auctions, and they're powerful ways to make money. Now, in the smaller rural counties, when I say smaller, I mean in population. County might be big, but the population might be small. So if the population is small, they will have dozens. They're not going to have hundreds, they're going to have dozens. And so everything in between. So some will have as much as 2,000 like a Miami-Dade, but what they do, instead of having one big auction, they might have an auction every other month. So you need to watch for these. Now, how do you find out about auctions? Well, you can find out in the local newspaper for that community, or it's an online age now. You can just go online and keep checking the county website, and they'll tell you when they're going to have those auctions. Now, how do they work? Well, they're a pretty simple process, actually. What they do is they announce the auction online, and they announce it in newspapers. So once you find out about that auction, many of them you can go online and watch the auction take place, or you can go to the auction room and watch it take place. So take a place like Georgia. Now in that state, they have 159 counties, and each of the counties is authorized to do one auction every month. So that means in that particular state, there's 159 auctions at least scheduled every single month. Now, if they don't have any properties to sell, they'll just cancel the auction. So some auctions will have 7, 10, 15 properties, that's all. But buying at those auctions is simple. You just have to know what the rules of the auction are. And to buy at the auction, you're going to need to make a payment. So you know what the payment schedule is going to be. Can you go in with a check? Can you go in with a credit card? Can you go in with a bank draft? What do they want? And the auction rules will always tell you that. All right, now every property in America, with the exception of schools and churches, is required to pay tax. Unfortunately, not everybody pays their tax. And when they don't pay their tax, the legislature and the county have gotten together and they cooperate on this. And they cooperate and simply say, to the people that haven't paid taxes, we're going to do something about it. So they have the county treasurer levy a tax. Now, once it's levied, then the county treasurer is supposed to collect the tax. Now, if the county treasurer cannot collect the tax, that's when you're going to have a tax deed or a defaulted auction property. Anybody can go to the auction, anybody can bid. Now, I've seen people buy property at these auctions for $500. I've seen them spend $500,000. It's going to depend upon what they're trying to sell at the auction. Now, should you go and research that ahead of time? Yes, we can show you all those steps. Or you can go to the auction and kind of watch other people, but you're going to have to learn how to research property. You know what the value is, what the size is, what are you going to do to sell that property? Now, the counties are in a bad situation. The county needs money. Now, what do they need the money for? Well, I'll explain that. But first, understand when the auction takes place, the treasurer levy the tax. They try to collect the tax. If they can't collect the tax, they're going to confiscate that property. That means they're going to seize the property. And once they've seized the property, they're going to auction it for very close to the back taxes. All right, when they auction a property, a tax lien sale or a tax deed sale, when the property is auctioned, the mortgage is deleted. They delete the mortgage. In other words, they take it right off the property file. So if you buy a property at a tax deed auction, you're going to get a property without a mortgage. Now, how good would that be? So now you've bought a property, you just need to start thinking about selling it because you'll be able to get it at a rock bottom price unless for some reason you bid too high. Now, there's thousands of these sales nationwide. I can't tell you about every one of them, but some of you will actually like to want to watch some of my other video, and you can watch one on Georgia tax liens and Georgia tax deeds, and you can just link, there'll be a link below, so when I finish, you can go there and watch about those different state deeds. So I've done them on many states. I won't conclude them all right now. But the county has a problem. So let's talk a little bit about that. The county has a lot of bills to pay, and the way they pay their bills is with property tax money. Now, property taxes are generally 1 or 2%. Every single property owes money to the local government. Now, that local government needs that money to pay for the firefighters, to pay for the police departments, to pay the school teachers, even to build the schools. They have to fix the roads. You're getting the idea. So the county has a lot of bills to pay. So the treasurer's job is to levy the tax, collect the tax, and if they don't collect the tax, they're going to confiscate their property and they're going to put it up for auction. Now, some counties, like in Georgia, they will auction properties every month. Other counties like Los Angeles or Dade County, the real populous counties, well, they will take their time and they will gather all the properties together and then they'll have a big auction. All right, the auction list is published in the newspaper. It's also published on the website. So you're kind of getting the idea. All right, so think about this. You bought a tax deed. When you bought a tax deed, the mortgage has been extinguished. There's no mortgage on the property. You can now sell that property into the marketplace, and hopefully you bought it low like I teach people. Buy it low, then go ahead and sell it low and move it out into the market. It has no other liens or loans on the property, so you can do whatever you want. Now, if the county treasurer sees the property, they're probably going to start the bidding at somewhere close to the back taxes. So think about buying a property for 10 cents, 20 cents, and 30 cents on the dollar. Now, these property auctions are what we're talking about today. How do they work? They're very simple. Anybody can go there. You want to try to buy it at rock bottom. I've seen properties go for 5 cents on the dollar, but here's what you're after. You're after buying property you want to buy for 70, 80, or 90% less than the treasurer's or the tax assessor's value. So if a property had a value of $100,000, you're trying to buy for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, maybe $30,000, and people do it every day. Keep in mind, there's no mortgage. Now, everything I've told you about today is 200 years old. I didn't invent it. It's been around for 200 years. This system works. Now I'm going to do a couple of questions before I close out the session. Okay, the viewer asked a question, and by the way, you can ask questions too, and if you do, put them below, and I'll even send you a gift when you do that. So the question was, how do you pay for a property at auction? Well, there's multiple ways to pay for it, and what you want to do to be exact is you want to research that on the county website where you're buying. Now, some counties will say, we will take cash. Another one won't take cash. Some want a cashier's check. Some want a draft. I mean, they're going to tell you exactly what they want, and you have to do it exact. So you can't decide how you want to do it. You have to do it exactly the way that particular county wants to do it. Now, different counties in different parts of the state can do different things. For example, in Maryland, in Arundel County, it's 12% for a tax lien. Yet you go over to Prince George's County, it's 24%. The only reason I told you those two numbers was simply it shows the counties can be that much different than each other. Let's talk about a couple of mistakes that I promised I'd tell you about. Mistake number one, don't buy a property unless you've seen it. Now, I go to these auctions all the time. I see people raising their hand. They're bidding for property. They've never seen the property. You don't want to buy a property that you haven't had boots on the ground and you haven't seen it. Now, if you don't see it yourself, hire someone to go look at it. We'll show you how to do that. But my point is, don't buy a property you haven't seen it. Now, what if there was a hurricane yesterday? What if the property had a fire? What if it was next to a chicken farm? You're getting the idea, so you don't want to do that. Now, there's a second mistake I'm concerned about, and that is exit strategy. Now, a lot of people are really fired up when they get to this auction. They want to be successful. I completely understand that. But don't start bidding on property that you haven't looked at and you don't have an exit strategy. So if you don't know what you're going to sell it for, how do you know when to stop bidding? Now, some people say, well, Ted, I got to the auction, I just wanted to win. Well, you don't want to win. You want to be able to buy a property at a bargain price and be able to sell it at a profit. So you got to know what the margin is. So that's exit strategy. You need both of those. Now, look, I've got a couple of great gifts for you. It's all encompassed in one. Let me reach over here to my desk and I'll get a gift. Number one is all about tax lien certificates and tax liens and how to profit on those. Now, this is no small book. This is quite a manual that you'll learn that. In addition to that, I've also got a manual. And as a matter of fact, I picked up the wrong one, but that's okay. All right, this one is all about tax defaulted property and tax deeds, teach you how to make money with tax deeds. And that's another powerful manual that you're going to get. Now, we're not going to stop there. I know you'd like to see some video, so why don't we put some online video? I'm going to show you this is a video package, but you're going to get the videos, but you're going to get them all online. So I'm Ted Thomas. Be sure and register below, and I'll send you all those gifts.